Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, and today we're doing something different. A lot has been made about where Marvel Snap is as a game right now, about what's good, what's bad, and all the in betweens about how we are handling Marvel Snap. I wanted to take stock of the good, the bad, the ugly, some suggestions for the future, and more. I wanted to look through all of that in today's video. We're also going to go over yesterday's huge OTA and give you a bunch of decks for them. So if you're here for the decks, don't worry, that's going to come too. Let us start out with the good news. We're going to start with the good news and we're going to end with decks. Just so you know, we're going to make sure that we bookend with some positivity here. First, Snap Packs have been amazing for card choice. There was a time where if you wanted to build a deck in Marvel Snap, there was almost no way to build that particular deck. You couldn't spend money, you would have to often wait months and months to get the right cards in order to build a deck of your choice. Snap Packs have fundamentally solved that issue. There are other negatives about Snap Packs, they're not perfect, but if you want to just build a specific deck, if you want to get and play good cards, Snap Packs are an absolutely ideal way to do so. With a bunch of new cards being added to Marvel Snap, I think the meta is more exciting. Some people are having a harder time catching up and they don't like it as much. Personally, I can only speak from my perspective. I'm going to try and represent other perspectives and call them out when I can, but from my perspective, having more cards, Marvel Snap is a game that if the new card didn't hit, the game could feel stale. If there wasn't an OTA for a while, the game could get quickly stale. Decks are small, games can get repetitive. Changing things with OTAs, having a bunch of cards constantly coming out, even if they're not all great, gives us things to do, gives us things to talk about, gives us places to look. That kind of thing makes the game more exciting, as opposed to a game where, you have the first week of the season, which is really exciting, you get a couple cards, and then unless a really hot card comes out, there's nothing much else to do. It is much better this way than the opposite, at least in my, again, in my personal opinion right now. Gameplay in Marvel Snap is the best of any game I've ever played, period, in any genre. Marvel Snap's gameplay is absolutely brilliant. It's the perfect mix of luck and skill. The best players win an awful lot, but the best snappers and retreaters are also very often the best players. Some people have amazing skill in deck building, but aren't as good players, although many of the best deck builders are also the best players. This game has nearly infinite variety and experimentation. The gameplay, actually sitting down for a game of Marvel Snap, sometimes you're going to be frustrated, sometimes things aren't going to go your way, but generally speaking, it works better than any game I've ever played. Gameplay for Marvel Snap is abso-freaking-lutely amazing. It's as close to perfect for gameplay as I could imagine in anything. Having consistent limited time game modes, number 4 here, having consistent limited time game modes is mostly a positive. It gives us more to do. So a lot of this is, for people who regularly hit infinite, there's not a lot to do unless you are one of the top 100 or so players in the world. You have to sort of set your own goal, your own number, and try and hit that. Otherwise, you're just sort of playing for fun, and the gameplay is so good that you can play for fun, but a lot of people are goal-oriented. They want something to grind for, they want something to play for, and they're looking for something to do. Having consistent limited time game modes, while it can add pressure, especially to those who don't hit infinite, allows people who are at infinite extra goals, extra rewards, extra things to play and grind toward. That is genuinely a plus, in my opinion. The other thing that endgame players have gotten recently that is a very, very helpful addition to Marvel Snap is the Golden Gauntlet tournaments. Another pure home run, much like gameplay, this one is just a pure home run to me. Having Golden Gauntlet tournaments, the first two happened a little too close to each other for my liking, but if we do these once a month or once every other month, having Golden Gauntlet tournaments where the community and creators can play, it creates content, it gives us something to play and test for. So now, let's say we're rank 2,000, 7,000, and we don't necessarily want to grind to climb ladder. We still have a reason to play Marvel Snap to test and figure out what's best for these tournaments, and that gives us stuff to do. It also creates stories, it creates stars. I've been telling everyone that Roram is great forever, the winner of the second Golden Gauntlet, and guess what? Roram is absolutely great, won this major tournament. It creates this star, it creates this story. But playing that totally unique deck, longtime viewers know But, right? He won well, I don't want to say how many Snap Judgment Leagues because we've got to talk about the most recent one, but he's won multiple of the tournaments that we host here on the channel. Seeing him with a completely unique deck rise to the top, seeing Derek, who we featured a million decks for, rise to the top of the first Golden Gauntlet. These are genuine star-making performances that create interest in the game, in its players, in its community, and building a community is one of the more important things Marvel Snap can do. I just want to shout out a few of the people working for Second Dinner that I've had really, really great interactions with. I genuinely think these are good people who care not only about the game, but the community and its health. Griffin, Brady, and Glenn have been amazing, amazing to work with and talk to. I talk to all three of them fairly regularly. I don't know who's in charge of all the things about Marvel Snap I don't like, but I do know that every time I talk to the three of them, I come away impressed with how insightful and caring they are about the long-term health of the game and the long-term health of the community in a way that seems that like these are people that answer on weekends. They answer after hours. They are genuinely caring people. That's why when people are like Second Dinner sucks, I hate Second Dinner, I hate Second Dinner. I know these people. They're really good and really caring. The game isn't perfect. Someone in there seems to be making some bad decisions we'll get to later, but there are genuinely people who are working their butts off far harder than their salary requires in order to make this game and help this community be as healthy as possible. And I just want to give that credit. That is definitely a good thing, and it's not the case in every game I've ever played. Finally, balance decisions and OTAs are huge. We're going to look at the OTA quickly next. I think the OTAs are almost always home runs. We occasionally have an OTA miss, but it's almost never more than 2 weeks that we really end up with a miss. Sometimes they buff something too strong or overbuff or overnerf something, right? But the beauty of the game is within 2 to 3 weeks, there's another OTA, and so nothing ever ends up really a problem. Or in the modern system of Marvel Snap, very rarely does anything end up a problem for long. Sometimes the OTAs can be a little conservative for my liking. Sometimes they can be a little radical for the liking of others. They're not perfect, but balanced decisions are overall a home run for the game. We've had a very, very healthy meta. Even when Thanos was the best, Thanos wasn't winning all the tournaments, right? Even when Thanos was the best, we still end up with an ultimately diverse meta. It's not like that 70% of the meta is ever one deck. This is just it's the balance team does an incredible and consistent job in Marvel Snap. For example, all right, we're actually going to start with the one I don't love. They changed Thanos so that Thanos doesn't start in hand. Thanos starting in hand was almost clearly a mistake. And yes, that mistake lasted longer than we would like, but they did fix it. As they fix that Thanos, since he doesn't start in deck, they changed the Space Stone. So now Thanos can get moved, but also the Space Stone only draws Thanos, and so is a 1/3. It still has its other ability. The Reality Stone is a 1/2, and the Time Stone gets its drawback. So, like, Thanos would be net even in draw fundamentally if you don't draw him. So Space Stone can still draw you Thanos, right? The 1/3 Space Stone can still draw you Thanos. But if you play Space Stone, you already have Thanos, then Space Stone no longer draws. In those situations, Thanos is way, way, way worse. In the other situations, you're still net even on cards. What you're going down on then is card quality because you no longer have this free Hulk that can sometimes be played anywhere, can sometimes not be destroyed. You no longer have that in hand at the beginning of the game. You have to actually spend energy to make it happen. This is a really, really huge Thanos nerf. I think that this is major. I don't know if it fixes Thanos. So my concern is that Thanos is either still great and going to end up the best thing in 2 months once people figure out how, or it's going to end up completely unplayable and it utterly disappears. I would like a Thanos that's good, a Thanos that's consistent, a Thanos that's a deck, but a Thanos that's not everywhere. And I think that it's been really, really hard for Second Dinner to hit the right way to handle that. The right way to get that balance for Thanos. It's always either the best card in the game, in the best deck in the game, or it's kind of semi-unplayable. I'd like to find a balance for it, and Thanos has proven to be the most elusive card to balance in all of Marvel Snap. What I think is the biggest change in the OTA is Galacta goes from a 4/5 to a 4/6, and now she gives +2 power. Last week on the podcast, we went over the top cards in Marvel Snap, the top 10 cards in Marvel Snap, and the top 5 cards at each cost slot, and Galacta was the best 4 and the best card in the game. I'm not even sure she's good now. I know Heart of the Cards, one of the best Surfer players in the world, played a bunch of Galacta and doesn't think she even belongs in Surfer anymore. I'm not sure what to make of this card. I think it's distinctly just generally worse than Gwenpool now. I'm not sure what to make of it. But because Galacta was the mainstay in so many of the main decks and the best decks, and because so many of the other decks that didn't run Galacta were basically built in answering her, this is going to be one of the biggest meta shakeups we've seen in a long, long time. And while I hate to see Galacta go, I'm fairly excited to see what comes out of this period that's going to be wild experimentation. Red Guardian gets the single most obvious nerf in the world. He becomes a 3/2. Red Guardian should have always been a 3/2. Getting 3/5 premium stats for your big great control card is too much. 3/2 seems much better. This is also a huge buff for Cerebro 2, however, so please keep that in mind. Cerebro 2 is very, very happy to add Red Guardian to their team. Misery had apparently been underperforming, which is news to the top of the meta, where she is a mainstay, and becomes a 4/9. We don't have many 5/9s. That is absolutely premium stats. You'd love to see Misery get this kind of buff. I think that there's going to be a lot of Misery decks. Victoria Hand decks are one of the main beneficiaries of Galacta going away. I think there's going to be a lot of Misery decks that end up near the top of the metagame with this change. Surfer loses when it doesn't get to play Galacta anymore, but it gains a 4/5 Absorbing Man. A 4/5 Absorbing Man to copy a Brood, to copy a Cassandra Nova, or to copy a Surfer are all insanely powerful plays. I think that those plays are now back on the menu with Absorbing Man. I'm not sure this card really goes anywhere else, but Forge into Brood into Absorbing Man is an extraordinarily powerful play pattern, and it would not shock me to see that start showing up in other places again. Last time Absorbing Man was a 4/5 was 2 Septembers ago, and it, in a Patriot Surfer deck with Brood and Iron Man, was the best deck in the game. I don't think that will happen this time. I think the game has power crept enough, but I am worried because I remember how difficult that meta was. Wolfsbane is a change only for early game players, really. She's a 3/2, which is nice, right? Now she becomes a 3/4, 3/6, 3/8. Great. 3/8's not bad stats. You got a Gladiator with some more work. Fine. Perfectly fine early series change. I don't think it matters otherwise. The Rhino change, she goes from a 3/6 to a 3/5, to a 2/5. That is strictly a buff. Losing a power is a buff for this type of card, almost always. So do we care? Mostly no. However, in Cerebro 5, if Cerebro 5 is ever going to be a deck, Rhino goes in it and helps protect you from Absorbed Man, and that's nice, right? Not amazing, but it's nice. Speaking of Cerebro 5, the Dao Mandala, the card the Ancient One generates, now costs 2, where it should have always costed. I called this change basically immediately. 3 was just too much for this card. That's going to be really, really good in Cerebro 5. Cerebro 5 is good with Rhino, with the Ancient One, but I think what it really benefits is the same thing Misery benefits. Victoria Hand decks absolutely love this change. Being able to make that cost 1 with the Quinjet is absurdly strong. You can discount the crap out of things. You can buff the crap out of things with this combo. I'm very excited for the Dao Mandala, which I think was really close to being a good card, and I think now very much is. Ironheart gets a weird change. So she used to give 3 of your cards plus 2 power. Now she gives 2 of your cards plus 3 power. That makes it much easier to play her on curve. I'm just not sure it matters. It's the same power, and now it's like a little bit worse with Wong and extra hits. If I'm trading this multiple times, I'm going taller instead of wider. I don't know. This doesn't seem like where I want to be for the card, but I'm happy Ironheart, as her Disney Plus show is out, is getting a little more attention, so at least we can test her. Professor X gets a strange buff. He changes from card, can't be played or moved here, to character, which means that you can now play skills in his location, which means you can move Werewolf by Night into Professor X locations, which means you can polymorph Professor X. Those are the 2 big ones, and you can also throw the Winds of Atum into Professor X lanes. That seems pretty good. Is this going to change the fortunes of the good professor? No. But it does make the card more fun and interesting, give you more things to do, and I'm all about that kind of life. Lockjaw gets a redesign. Something must be coming out that broke Lockjaw, would be my guess. Activate after you play. If you play your next card, swap it with the card in your deck. So Lockjaw is now a once per game activate. That's going to have a lot of uses with things you want to play on turn 3 that you don't really want to stay out. That seems reasonably good with a card like Nightmare. That seems reasonably good with a card like Electro. And I think it's going to be reasonably good in Hela. So I think this is an okay change if it's not like earth-shaking. I think this OTA, however, does completely remake the meta. And I think that's really, really, really positive. Again, we're going to have a deck for about 90% of these cards. I think we have like 8 decks prepared. We're going to have a deck for 90% of these cards at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. And it's time to stop being positive for now. Oh, one more positive slide. Let's go. Check out twitch.tv/PulseGlazer tomorrow, where I'll be doing my first and only likely ever Streamathon. Basically, I'm going to go up to 24 hours if I can. I'm old. I'm going to do my best. I'm trying to raise money. I'm moving around the world to Vietnam later in July, like middle July, July 16th. So I'm trying to raise a little money to help me out with the move. If you're interested in stopping by, please do so. We've got an absolute ton of great giveaways. So if you're interested in that, please come hang out. It would mean the absolute world if you were willing to stop by and support. The bad, time to not be happy. All right, snap packs are amazing for card choice, but they're absolutely terrible for catching up. They're releasing more cards, and snap packs almost always only give you 1 card, whereas Spotlight Caches give you more than 1. That means if you're already behind, if you're a new player, you might be able to get 1 or 2 decks that you want, but you're never going to really catch up in terms of card acquisition. More cards are going to make it harder to get caught up and stay caught up. There is a potential answer to this in data mined archetype packs. We are going to offer solutions later, and I have a lot to say about snap packs and how they can be used to help us catch up when combined with other mechanics, but we'll save that for now. But for now, snap packs make catching up, the way they're being implemented right now, make catching up feel impossible or prohibitively expensive. I would kill for card acquisition to not be the main focus of so many of these videos, of so many of these conversations, but it has been the boogeyman, the boogaboo, the issue, the Freddy Krueger that has haunted Marvel Snap players since the game's launch. Next up, constant updates make card acquisition more complicated. Literally a week ago, on a podcast, I ranked Galacta as the best card in the game, basically giving my approval and telling everyone that the single card that they should most buy in Marvel Snap is Galacta. A week later, I don't think Galacta is in the top 20 cards you should buy. I don't think she's necessarily even in the A tier, let alone the S tier. We're going to do a tier list, by the way, on that Saturday big stream. So card acquisition is more complicated, right? You've got to make these decisions. There's no refunds. It takes forever to join up. And that's annoying for a late game player, but not the end of the world. But if you're a newer player, if you're trying to catch up and you save up and like the deck you've been building and saving for is dead, there's nothing you can do about that. You might as well just uninstall, right? That's a serious problem for this game. Further, there's constant bugs. Like constant. For a while, every time I logged into the game on Steam, I had to manually log into the game, which isn't the end of the world, but it sure was consistently annoying. Sanctum had a bug, not Sanctum, Overdrive had a bug where if you didn't play a charged card in a game, it would reset that mission. These kind of bugs are exceedingly frustrating. There's smaller bugs, right? There's bugs that don't really matter where like sometimes a card will just sort of disappear in hand. That's fine, that's annoying, but like there's game-breaking bugs. The newest card, Dormammu, had a bug where you couldn't play cards and would have to restart the game. That kind of thing has become, it's been so consistent, like we just all expect it at this point, and it's gotta stop at some point. I don't know how it has to stop, but it really does. The new web shop seems really cool, except we can't gift subs. And as a content creator, that's really frustrating. The community really supports me, and I really like giving back to the community. It's been a huge pain in the ass to try and do that right now. The new web shop not having gifting is genuinely going to make my life as a content creator much more difficult. I know that this is a very personal complaint, but it has been bothering me and I wanted to include it. Limited time game modes all seem built in a way to put money first. They are built to get you to spend. Even if they give you a free card, they want you to spend to accelerate. They want you to spend to get that discount on Kid Omega. They want you to spend to get extra scrolls. They want you to spend to refresh missions, whatever the case may be. That could be okay, but they seem designed specifically to leech money in very transparent ways. I don't think Second Dinner has realized, I don't think Second Dinner has noticed that one of the best ways to get people to spend money is to make things that are fun. If people are having fun, it doesn't always have to be FOMO. If people are having fun, they're more likely to spend. Give us extra rewards, give us extra challenges, give us extra things to do that are fun. Cut the amount of grinding I have to do for a mode like Overdrive in half, right? Much like they did, honestly, with Sanctum. And then say, you can buy some extra things. Just stop putting money first. Make the game mode more fun. Don't make me have to play it until I'm sick of it. Let me play in short, fun bursts. Let me save up my missions. Let me have fun with your game instead of making it feel like a job that I have to check 3 times a day. Next up, Conquest has been abandoned. They haven't updated Conquest at all. There's 10 million things they can do, from getting rid of some of the screens, to switching up rewards, to banning specific cards. There are a million things they can do to Conquest. They completely abandoned their only other permanent game mode. Apparently, it's not a big moneymaker. The people who play it no matter what. I get it. But again, make your game more fun. Put fun first. Put the user experience first. And if you make that better, people will engage with it more. It's not that people automatically hate Conquest. It's that they've made the mode so unappealing and unengaging to bother with that people don't. Why not spend some love and care to make your game as good as it can be, not to just maximize your profits? Communication is always super hit or miss. Sometimes they tell us stuff with fair warning. Sometimes the stuff gets dropped on us. Obviously, this was a problem with the Kid Omega situation, the play for discount situation, and the shop. I literally interviewed the creator of the mode right before the mode came out, and they didn't bother to tell us any of these things. Content creators don't always get the best heads up either. Sometimes it's very short notice. Like, for example, we almost never seem to know, the community as a whole never seems to know when the season highlight video is going to come up. Why? Just tell us, keep us in the loop, help us, let us be excited about the game. Further, stop communicating only through Discord and Twitter. I know you have to translate it if you put it in game, but Y'all might have to just use something like ChatGPT for translations because you need to get these translations, these pop-ups, this information in the game. And finally, everyone was super excited about character mastery because we thought it was going to be cool, right? We thought it would be things like get Deadpool to like 100 and whatever power as our way to get character mastery. We thought it would be like these cool character specific challenges that would give us cool character specific rewards. Instead, they made it super generic and all about how many variants you own. The only thing that really matters for mastery is how many variants of a card you own, and how many splits you have. It is entirely money based. They had the opportunity once more to introduce something that could be fun, that players would love because it's fun, and instead chose to focus on cash. Are we sensing a pattern with these problems? Because I sure am. We're going to talk about the ugly in a second, but before we get ugly, do something beautiful and hit that sub button. Help us out, help us grow on this channel where we bring you 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos, more than anyone with more content than anyone from the most respected and top players in Marvel Snap. There's also the Tournament of Pride happening tomorrow. Hopefully you participate in it. Arishem and Thanos are banned. If you want to register, QR code on the stream. The ugly. The Kid Omega problem. I covered this in a video prior, a whole video largely on the Kid Omega problem, so I want to get into this. I think that the problem comes with ultimately with a lack of respect for players' time and effort. If you work really hard for something just for a discount, that feels bad, especially because in the past we've worked really hard for something and gotten it for free. Does that make sense to everyone? Like, hopefully it does, right? If you work really hard for something and like you work really hard to get Cassandra Nova. Getting Cassandra Nova was a pain in the butt to anyone who didn't do it. But you grind and get it, and there's a sense of reward, and you got it. You accomplished something. Accomplishing a discount isn't the same thing. But even more than that, the mode doesn't respect players' opinions in so many other ways. It doesn't respect players' time and effort in so many other ways. They sold us Elixir a month before with the implicit promise that Kid Omega and Elixir would be good cards together, and then they lock Kid Omega away unless you want to spend money. They make it so that this fun, fast game mode isn't fun and fast. Individual games might be, but not only do they have insane things like the long chimichanga animation that everyone's complained about by now, but further, why do we have to play 150 energy of cards, 35 charged cards? Cut those in half. Let the mode be fast. Like, respect players' time. You want us to have fun with it. You can't make it fun and work at the same time. I know you want us to grind and play more. We will play more if it's fun. Making it a grind just frustrates us. This is especially bad because we can't bank missions. My single least favorite thing, the thing that makes me most angry about this, is that we cannot bank missions in modes like High Voltage Overdrive. There are 3 missions, and if you want the good discount, you've got to complete all 3 every 8 hours. That is a job. You have turned Snap into a job. A job is not something that most people do for fun. If you miss one of those 8-hour periods, you keep those missions and you have lost them forever. None of those missions are banked. That ignores time zones, that ignores work schedules, family schedules. It just says we don't care about or respect you as a person. We don't care about or respect how much time and effort you put into this game. And that's disgusting. I've missed 2 to 5 missions ever in Marvel Snap since I started playing, and I missed many High Voltage Overdrive missions. It would get late at night, and I would know I have to play it now, and they couldn't be banked. And I'd just go to sleep and say, forget it. I'm not doing this. I'm a content creator, like a fairly major one in this game, and I just couldn't be bothered. They made it so that it was hard to care because I felt so disrespected, because I felt like they didn't care or value my time or effort, because they couldn't just let me save an extra 3 so that I could rest and do things on my own timeline. It's not like I'd be playing less. I still have to do the exact same missions, right? So why would you have to force me to stay up late into the middle of the night to try and accomplish things? It's ridiculous, it's rude, and it's unnecessary. The original High Voltage, not Overdrive, had the exact same situation, except in order to achieve those cards, you only needed to complete 2/3 of the missions. So what they were asking then was for you to check in 2 times a day in order to claim the missions. Saying you have to log in all 3 times and you're not even get everything if you choose to stay up all night for it is an unacceptable choice. Next up, Astral Projection and Diminishing Rewards, Lack of Consistency, Snap Packs, and Card Acquisition. So Astral Projection is the new card from the Sanctum Showdown mode, and I think it really, really highlights the card acquisition problem in Marvel Snap. The first time we got Sanctum Showdown was sort of a test run for Snap Packs, it seems like, where we got up to 7 Series 4 and 5 cards, the new cards, and then you can get a bunch of like portal pulls, which got you a bunch of extra cards. This was a phenomenal boon to the audience, and yes, it required a lot of gut grinding, and yes, they gave us too many whatever they're called charms in Twitch drops, but why not give us an extra way to grind? It's become increasingly apparent as a Marvel Snap player, creator, someone who communicates with a lot of the community, that the way Second Dinner makes their money is new cards. New releases are hot. New releases get them stuff. The FOMO of missing out stuff gets people to spend extra on older cards, but hey, we've got snap packs, we've got seasonal snap packs and collector snap packs. Why not throw a couple of stretch goal collector snap packs into this? Why not have the community have the boon of being able to help with have this help with card acquisition? You did it last time. Why remove optionality from the audience? All people want is the ability to play the cards and play the game. And I know they don't want us to be able to do that for free because they have a company to run and they need to help. Sorry, they need money in order to run that, but they also need to help us. They need to show generosity. Like when I'm happier with Marvel Snap, I spend money. Right now, I'm not spending a cent outside of the season pass, which I feel like I have to buy for content. Making us miserable is not going to make you more money, friends. It might get some extra money out of whales, but it's going to drive away a lot of the player base. You've got this answer in collector's card packs, collector series 4 and series 5 card packs. If in, let's say in Sanctum Showdown, right, you can't get Kid Omega, you're still playing for a discount, but there's one, if you do finish everything or finish 2/3, you can get one seasonal series 5 pack or 2 seasonal series 4 packs. Do we still have the same level of complaints? Same basic premise for the Sanctum mode. If you can get some snap packs in those modes, if you can buy snap packs in those modes, even if you can't get the premium reward without spending a little bit, are we still so mad? We'd still be frustrated, maybe, but would we be furious? Would this feel like the slap in the face, this utter disrespect, this huge problem? I truly don't believe so. They've created the solution to their problems with snap packs. They can throw these into these modes that they're going to have once or twice a month now, right? They can throw these into these modes. They can make them frickin' participation rewards for or rewards for hitting top X in Golden Gauntlet, right? They have these rewards they can give us that not only prevent complaining, but they solve a real problem in the game. If you combine those with archetype packs, and those archetype packs are instituted well, and those archetype packs help people get into specific decks that you don't immediately nerf, then card acquisition is finally something I can stop talking about after years, literally years of my life spent being frustrated at card acquisition. The solution is at their fingertips, but they've been too greedy to actually seize that solution, and that is the ugliest thing of all to me. The only thing that even comes close to being that ugly is their timeline and fixing issues. Their team is still small, but they insist on running themselves like a major corporation and talking to us like they're a major corporation. So that's how they're going to get treated. There's bugs that last forever, game-breaking bugs that last forever. Conquest hasn't been fixed in 2 years. Master hasn't been fixed since it was instituted, hasn't been touched in forever. All these things that were promised, all these fixes that were promised, card acquisition took literal years to get even close to right, and then they don't bother fixing any of the issues with that. There needs to be a real timeline in fixing these issues. This can't be something that just hangs over the head of the game forever. It is a guillotine coming down. These issues need to address these issues. If I was them, what I would do is I would have a timeline. I would say these are the issues, these are our solutions, this is our timeline for each. It might take longer, give us an extra potential month on each of these, but these are the issues that we see as problems: card acquisition, communication, respecting players' time. We're going to have your own internal checklist whenever you do anything to make sure it hits all these things, that it doesn't exacerbate any of these issues, or if you can add something to make any of these issues better. And then for the ones that are already in the game, like Mastery, say we will have Mastery fixed by September. We will have this type of bug completely eliminated by October, and then work on it. Give us a timeline, communicate, and be effective. I love this game, and I want to keep playing. Some other real ways to really help things, you can use creators. Um, we could have told them that Overdrive was bad, right? We're all under NDA, so we couldn't have told the community, but we could have told them and they could have fixed it. We could have told them months ago. They could have included us. We could also give feedback. We are also the main PR firm for the game, right? But they don't communicate with us. I don't know if you listened to the most recent episode of the Snapchat, but Regis Kilbin, Alex Kocha, and Cozy were on. It's always Alex and Cozy, right? But Regis joined them and talked about how underappreciated and underused they felt by Second Dinner. If you want your game to thrive, you create a healthy community. A community where people love each other, care about each other, know each other, and your biggest faces are some of the most positive and happy faces, like Regis, Alex, and Cozy are. Reach out to them. Say, we didn't realize what we had done wrong. We listened to you and we're sorry. Let's share these ideas with you. Would you be willing to work with us? I don't know Cozy at all. Cozy and I have had one conversation ever because we played in a creator tournament. But I talk to Regis a lot, and I love Alex. He's awesome, and I talk to Alex. And I have no doubt that they would help. They're amazing human beings, and I would bet Cozy would too. Speak to them. And, like, I love Guest, I love Cam. They're also friends, right? But, like, they're not the only ones that can help you. Talk to people. Tell people things in advance. You have this amazing, passionate, driven community willing to work for you and help you. It seems like a no-brainer. Next up, make fun the priority. If people have fun, they'll spend more. Stop making everything about spending. There has to be monetization. Do yourself a favor and try and make some of the monetization that is present a little less visible. Include it in UI elements. Get it out of our faces. Make fun the priority. Figure out how to let people have fun. Figure out what people have fun with. Ask them, or watch what they play more of, or like engage more with, and give them more of that. If people don't want to grind super huge missions, like if people don't like certain missions, give a free mission reset. Right? If certain missions are too long or really frustrating, my community hates the win all three locations mission. Just don't. Or for the love of God, like give that a refresh, or at least don't put that at the end of the season or at the end of the week. Make fun the priority. Figure out what people hate, and then figure out what people like, and focus on fun. If people liked imbalanced matches, do that again. If people didn't play imbalanced matches, don't. If you try things, right? Be like, we're gonna try banning these few cards from Conquest for this season. Let's see what happens. Like, are people going to be more engaged? Clean up the UI. Make it fun. Make it joyous. Take the time needed to bug and troubleshoot and communicate about it and communicate about those timelines. We talked about that already in the previous. Get Snap Pack R-Type packs up affordably and advertise them as a catch-up mechanic. So a lot of people came back when Snap Packs were announced and tournaments were announced, right? A lot of them left or are leaving during the Kid Omega debacle. Think about how many players lapsed from the game because they couldn't keep up or came back. I know Spessy came back and then bounced off because he was so far behind. Woody came back and bounced off because of Kid Omega. Advertise in-game, advertise on media that Snap Pack R-Type packs, that these game modes are giving you old cards, that you can get back into Marvel Snap for an affordable price. You don't have to play every day. This doesn't have to be your life and only game for you to participate. Advertise it. Tell people that. And then finally, it boggles my mind that this doesn't happen. There should be a constant stream of like in-game pop-ups, not pop-ups that sell things. Pop-ups that tell us this event is happening on the Discord. Pop-ups that tell us that we can get an extra reward. The Pride code, right? There's the Pride. If you type in, you go into the Marvel Snap web shop, and you type in Pride, all caps, 2025, you get a variant and some cool borders. Why is there no pop-up in the game that tells us that? There should be. Throw all of that stuff everywhere. Throw some creator videos up. When a new card comes out, you don't even you can pay a creator to do a video and put it on Marvel Snap. You can also just go and say Res Snapper always does an awesome video about this. So once a month, we're going to pick one of Res Snapper's videos and just share it in app when the new card comes. And then Drewski does that every week too. In a different week of the month, we're going to do Drewski. And maybe we'll try another smaller creator, and maybe we'll throw a giant creator who does this type of video like a Regis in there, and you just alternate all these creators that just suddenly get a spot in the carousel on the app, and you advertise things and you make people feel good and special. You advertise that there's rewards. You advertise that there's a golden gauntlet coming and that people can sign up with a specific link on a carousel or a quick pop-up when you load up the game or on the loading screen. You've got real estate, use it. There are good things, but the place people communicate largely about this game is Facebook, Reddit, Discord, and Twitter. And at the very least, Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter are poison platforms. They are beacons and cesspools of negativity. You have the opportunity to create a positive space within your game. Use it. We are giving away a season pass. The season pass we're giving away is Merlin. Merlin is going to be given away. If you would like to enter to win Merlin, all you have to do is answer, what do you think about my complaints and solutions on this video? As long as you sub, like, and answer that in the comments, you are entered to win the great Merlin. Let's talk OTA decks, and then we'll head out of here. First, we've got Dragon. Dragon got an Infinity ticket. He posted and tagged me in this on Twitter. It is a Nightmare Lockjaw deck. Lockjaw is now a 2/2. I know that it looks like it's a 4/5. The stupid app hasn't updated yet. It will by tomorrow, but gotta make a video, y'all. But Lockjaw in this deck makes perfect sense. It's a card you can play on 2 and a card you love throwing several cards into. You don't want to put your big stuff into Lockjaw here, but Nightmare, Electro, or even the Hood into Lockjaw all seem like incredibly powerful plays. You're only going to get one cycle, but if that cycle is Nightmare or Electro, you're perfectly happy with that. You don't want Electro on board, Lockjaw handles that. You don't want Nightmare on board, Lockjaw handles that. And your cycles that don't work out could still turn into Circes, can still turn into War Machines and other answers. This is absolutely brilliant as a way to play Lockjaw. My immediate thought was Hela, so I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to share a Hela deck for Lockjaw. I don't think I do. I think that this is actually a better home. Lockjaw makes the -1 on Nightmare feel so much better. And this is already close to the best type of Nightmare list. I'm really excited to play this one, and I will be playing it soon. Next up, we got Bro 2. This is Cerebro 2. Red Guardian still goes in 10,000 decks, right? Red Guardian is still going to be all over the place, but Cerebro 2 is awfully happy to have a 3/2 Red Guardian. Just having access to that extra powerful card in this archetype that's already very powerful and underplayed adds a lot. Is this suddenly going to vault Cerebro 2 to be the best deck in the game? Nope, but it still puts up a ton of points and is extraordinarily frustrating to play against, and thus is going to be really strong. Then we have Cerebro 5. It was the only home I could really think of for Rhino, who, reminder, is now a 2/5. The Dao Mandala works here, largely for Cerebro, in total honesty. You're not really hitting anything else with it, but it's worth it just for Cerebro. To have a 2 or after Sarah 1 that can make a whole lane be Cerebro is amazing. Meanwhile, what Rhino offers here is a way to protect your Cerebro or Mystique from Red Guardian, or at least make that be a 50-50 instead of a short shot. Your basic goal with this list is to just play some tempo cards, and then when you play Sarah, you can sort of pop off. So you can go like Martyr into Medusa or Silk, into Ancient One, into Scarlet Spider, into Sarah, or into on turn 2 would actually be Rhino ideally, and then you can just sort of pop off, go Cerebro, Mystique, Cerebro for 2, Mystique for 2, Dao for 1, that's 5, and then you can play like the Titania or the Martyr or the Silk or the Medusa, and you just added so much power to the board. I'm not sure how opponents stop that kind of thing. I think this one actually might have real legs. We also have Dumaluma, who is one of my viewers who's just been killing it lately. Got an Infinity border with this already, saying if I can play spells with Professor X, then I'm going to play spells with Professor X. You're going to note that I have Doctor Strange in this list and go, what? That should be Astral Projection. For whatever reason, Astral Projection did not want to show up in the deck builder. Right now, it'll be back again once the game updates, once the site updates. But for now, just assume that's Astral Projection. We're going to buff Nicholas Scratch, right? We're going to play Nicholas Scratch in one lane. We're going to play Professor X in lane. And then we're going to be able to Winds of Watoon in that lane. We're going to be able to play spells that pull Werewolf into that lane. We're going to be able to use Polymorph to turn Professor X into a 6-drop in that lane. Sometimes our Professor X is going to be able to be hit by a Namora and other stuff like that. I want Luna in this to go with Surge, but outside of that, this one is a chef's kiss beast. I really, really like this sort of pile idea as a way to like say, all right, let's see what Professor X can do. I can do tons of really cool and powerful stuff with it. Props to Dumaluma for a really cool Prof X idea. We covered this deck yesterday as our Astral Projection deck, but when we covered this deck, Ironheart and Ancient One weren't buffed. Ironheart and Ancient One's buff loves this list. You can still copy Ancient One or Ironheart with Astral Projection. Copying Ironheart now is often going to be better with Astral Projection. The other thing that we end up with here is Ancient One is really, really good to copy Wong or Iron Man or Gore. But the other thing Ancient One can really copy is any of those cards hit by Esme. Esme hits a Wong, right? And now all of a sudden you've got like a 3/4 Iron Man. You drop that on your Ironheart. You drop that on your Surge. And then you freaking play the Dao Mandala. And all of a sudden that lane is skyrockets in power. This one's really, really cool. Props to Safety Blade for it. I am in love. Jets Buy One Take One is a game that has one of the highest play rates in all of Marvel Snap. Straight up, right now, still has one of the highest play rates in Marvel Snap at like a near 60% win rate. Everyone tells me this deck should stop working. Jet says this deck should stop working. It has not stopped working, and it just got a buff as Misery is now a 4/9. We've covered this deck in great detail in the past, literally. Earlier this week, I believe we covered, actually, it might have been last week. Time is running together a little bit as I plan for that move. But this list is sort of a monster. Firehair and Misery both sort of work together. They both sort of do the same thing. When you destroy a card, you get an extra trigger, which is really, really strong here. Misery having an extra power just makes this list even better. From there, we go to Ava's Genius Cook, and everyone ignored me when I shared this list because Ancient One is a card no one wants to get, for good reason. Well, the Dao Mandala is a 2 now, and when you make a whole lane of medium-sized cards into speeds, you win that lane. And the Dao Mandala is amazing for that. You can also make it Joaquin Torres. You can turn a lane into Joaquin Torres. You can go Joaquin Torres, you can drop a Nico or a Hood or whatever on there, and then you can play a Sable and get like 4 or 5 Sable triggers. Or you can do copy a couple, and then you can make a Nico double or Nico +2, triple or quadruple. That kind of thing is really, really hard to quantify. Ancient One is really good in this list, and I love this list. I had a really, really great time with it, and I think the Ancient One buff is real. I didn't want to give you an Ancient One Victoria hand because that's what everyone's going to do. Finally, the last deck is I Built a Surfer. This is what I think Surfer is going to look like now. You want Surge because you're running a few 4-drops, and we're trying to get around there. Forge gives us the straight Forge Brood Absorbman combo, which is just so much power in this list. Or Forge Carter into like a Gwenpool is also a very, very powerful play. We have Cassandra Nova as a really great card for certain matchups, Arishem Thanos, but also a card. I want a second card that if I have to go 3 into Absorbman, I can. So my idea here is I can go Brood Absorbman, I can Cassandra Absorbman, or I can go Hope Summers on turn 3. Having that sort of optionality on turn 3 seems really, really strong here. Brood and Carter are your big power cards in Surfer list for obvious reasons. Surfer is now a way more important buff card. Galacta was the best card in the deck. It is not here, so Surfer is now significantly better. Juggernaut lets you win a lane on the cheap. Makari is free power, and we're not running a ton of ramp here, and we are running a lot of extra stuff, so we're happy for Makari. Fastos can let us do some broken stuff. That's why he's here. Again, I just want optionality on 3. Being able to, again, Fastos into Absorbman is not going to be the worst thing in the world. Fastos into Gwenpool seems really, really solid too. And then Hope is our last extra energy for this list. It's just if we see Hope, now the second 4-drop stops being a real problem. And finally, Gwenpool fundamentally just replaces Galacta. We're running a more on-reveal version, so Gwenpool's a little better. Yes, Gwenpool is going to miss more, but when she hits, her upside for hits is likely to win you more cubes. Please don't forget about our big giveaway late-in stream celebration this Saturday, tomorrow, starting around 1 p.m. Eastern. Basically, as soon as I can get my son to my dad's, he's going to spend 2 nights there, and I'm going to go crazy streaming. So I hope to see you there. We've got a ton of giveaways. We're giving away hundreds of dollars worth of stuff. Come hang out and hopefully show some love and support too. Certain tier support on our Patreon come with honor. Thanks. I'm going to say thank you to a bunch of people real fast because, as always, for the Friday videos, it's super late. Thank you to Bricks to Click, Abigail Gieslin, Mediterranean Burnett, Eric Carl, Silly B, Incan Brosman, Hotan Everett, Prime Brian, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Ryan Wrench, Caretix Lee, Query, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Profros, The Goats Here Code, Hollowed, Only Fox, Synth, Frederick, Absolute Chen, Nightmare, Dirty Casual, Mr. Ruffle, Cable, Ginger Prime, Philip Rapco, Chapel, Kenny Letters of the Attention, The Bez, Black Juice 23, Extra and Skippy G, Jessica Gam, Mr. Celeste, The King of Bros, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Stevo, Kev Z Hoda, Clam, Colonel Forbin, Rob Silverman, David G. Wingfield, Stephen Brown, Coffin, Martin, Jason B, Mr. Craig Sterry, Matt V, Corey, Corbin, John Q, Jimmy McHugh, John Q, Jimmy Q, Yes Dot, ACH, One Big Man, Looking for Reals, Cactus Jack, Reacher, Yo Marco, Ted Pro, Quid Pro Joe, Snapchat Scissors Joe, Dick Carlo, 220, Battle Supreme, Big Boom Bot, Green Goblin, Unibot, on 56, The Fuzzy, nope, damn it, no fuzzy there, and I keep flawn the Spectrumix, Hoot, Oculars, Matt H, GG Mike Haynes, No Friggin' Flex, Nick, The Greek Geek, Toxic Soul King, Soundtrack 74, The King of Hello, JJ, Denman Falcon, Father Newman, Jonesy Snap, Two Ties, The Great Learners, The Pirate King Tucker, and of course, Gunny T. The T stands for tired is what I am right now. I'll see you Saturday for some lovely Marvel Snap content. I'll have a video in the morning and then a long stream during the day. Peace.